Oh, hello, and so, for all of those of you who may have been skeptical about me, claiming that the MiG-3 was better than the Bf-110, well, I'm going ahead and taking you up on that. So, this is the MiG-315, the Mikoyan Gurevich 315. I wanted to do the BK, however, I played about 10 matches in the BK, and this is a stock BK on an expert crew. 10 matches in the BK, all 10 matches were against the Japanese. With a fully loaded team of Ki-44s, Ki-61s, Zeros, and Corsairs. So that ended about as well as you would imagine. So yeah, so I decided to dumb it down a little bit to the 315, just the standard 315, because the 315 still can meet Bf-110s. The 315 is a 1.7 battle rating aircraft. The 315 BK is a 2.3. So the BK is more likely to see Bf-110s, however the 315 is capable of seeing them as well. Remember the Bf-110, like I said in the other video about that thing is a 2.7 aircraft, so yes, the MiG-3 is both variants, or no, all three variants of the MiG-3 are well and truly capable of meeting Bf-110s, and the third variant of the MiG-3, the 334, is actually 2.7 as well, same BR as the Bf-110 itself. So, a little bit about the MiG-315. So, this aircraft, in comparison to the 110, it does get an altitude. It does get an altitude spawn, or an air spawn. Like the Bf-110, this thing is an interceptor. However, it has a higher rate of climb. It has a relatively higher average climbing speed. It is faster in level flight. And something that I discovered about the MiG-3 that I did not know until quite recently. This thing does not overheat at all. The entire climb process that you just watched, that about 3 or 4 minutes, I was holding down the W key like there was no tomorrow. And I think I'm still holding down the W key as of this moment right here. The engine basically never overheats, and I'm just turning off the engine to go into a dive, basically. So, our first two targets here are a G50, and that CR-32 is actually going to dive away. At least I think he is. So, my main priority right now is the G50, and that HE-112 is about to come up and try to get our Chaika, our I-153. And I discover here that the MiG-3 does not loop. It doesn't. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Put the nose back down. Point the nose down again. So the HE-112 shoots down the Chaika, unfortunately, but I do at least avenge the Chaika. So, there are two aircraft on the enemy team that I am very much afraid of in this match, and that is the G50 and the MC-200. And the reason is because the MC-200 and the G50 are much, much, much more maneuverable than this aircraft. Not only that, but the MC-200 is capable of beating this thing to altitude. So I want that I want the 200 and the G50 dead because of their maneuverability, and this 200 because of its climb rate. But first I've got to kill all of these biplanes. So, CR-32, I don't really want to do this, but there you go. Kill number 2. And you'll notice that I'm going to mostly employ boom and zoom tactics throughout this entire match. Like again with the Bf-110, you have to boom and zoom in this aircraft. You just saw the raw maneuverability of this thing right before I engaged the HE-112. So, climbing back to altitude, I'm going to go ahead and just accelerate this because I know you don't want to watch it. And there's a CR-42 down there on the deck. So there's 2 CR-42s, an MC-200, a CR-32, and the G50. The G50 is currently being engaged by the I-16 Type 5, which is what that I-16 is. It's a Type 5. So there's a CR-42CN, which, by the way, both of the CR-42s are the premium version. So set that CR-42 on fire, he dumps the nose, try to get on my ass, and also to evade my shots, but it's too late. He burns down behind me. G50 has an aircraft on his ass, although I'm not, and it's the I-16. So I'm just looking at him to see if I can actually burst up to him, but I can't do that right now. I have to engage the CR-32. So I put a burst into the CR-32, he continues going straight. I see if I can get a burst into the G50. I can't, and I see the CR-32 trying to make a burst for my wingman. CR-32 puts a few shots my way, but I retaliate with my SCAS machine guns and my Brazen heavy machine gun as well, and shoot down the CR-32. And now our MiG-3 has just plummeted into the dirt. So it's me and an I-16 and an SB-2M. So I take what little shots I can at the CR-42. He retaliates, but he does not get a hit into me. I-16 is still locked in combat with the G50. Try to take a pop at him. I do get a hit, but the I-16, I really didn't need to be worried. The I-16 finishes him off. And there you go. I-16 puts the last critical hit in, and the G50 flies it into the ground. So from here on out, our SB-2M is actually taking off from a land and a repair. A repair, a rearm, and a refuel. And I accidentally turned my engine off here. For those of you who accidentally turn your engine off in realistic, throttle back to 0, press I, and then throttle back to 100. That's how you turn your engine back on. So yes, I'm actually talking with that SB-2M pilot in chat right now about staying around the airfield until me and the I-16 have repaired, rearmed, and refueled. Because currently, the last we saw of the MC-200, he was heading back towards his base. We have no idea where he is anymore, and the last enemy aircraft, there are 2 on the enemy team. There's an MC-200 and a Ju-88, but we currently do not know what the second aircraft is. We do not know that it is a Ju-88. So I'm telling the SB-2M in chat, look, stay at the base, let me and the I-16 repair, and then we'll all go up together. And I accidentally ripped my landing gear off here. There you go. So I just decided, you know what, fuck it, pull the landing gear back in, and I'll just try to belly land the thing. And it was actually a pretty successful landing. I tried to throttle up here at the very end because I didn't think I would make the runway, but as it was, I didn't really need to worry. By the way, the only damage that I actually did to the aircraft there was destroying the prop and killing the engine. That's how little damage I actually did to the aircraft. Alright, so I-16 has just landed. I am typing in chat telling the SB-2M I'm taking off. Landing gear back up. That's actually another good thing about the MiG-3 is the landing gear retraction time is actually very, very quick. Definitely hydraulically powered, unlike the I-16's hand crank. Another benefit, actually, of the MiG-3 is that the MiG-315, at least, well, all of the MiG-3s in game, is that for simulator battles, they actually have a very good cockpit. The visibility around the wings is very bad, is very poor, because the wings are so thick. You don't really get a lot of view underneath the wing, even though the pilot is so far to the back of the aircraft. However, visibility over the nose is pretty good for how far back the cockpit is, and there's the 200 and the Ju-88. So yeah, despite the fact that the cockpit is so far back, the vision over the nose is still very good. Not only that, but rear visibility is absolutely excellent. The rear plate of armor does not obstruct your vision much at all. Even without binding the keybinds to your pilot's head, you can still see behind you pretty well. If you lean back, if you lean to one side with the keybinds, you can actually see both sides of the aircraft from behind. So our SB2M here has done a great job of backseat sniping. He's set the MC200 on fire, and he is actually going to be awarded with that kill. So that's a kill for our SB2M, an air kill. To be quite frank, a complete moron of a MC200 pilot. And I really did feel bad about this, but this is kind of a kill steal. So yeah, that was the final kill of the match. Unfortunately, I kind of felt it was a kill steal, and actually, for those of you who want to know exactly why I fired there, because he was still on fire, the thing about... Okay, there's two types of fires in War Thunder. There are fuel fires and there are engine fires. For aircraft, at least. And here's how you... and fuel fires almost never go out. They are always pretty much going to kill you. Engine fires, by contrast, have a tendency, and in my experience, are very much known to go out before they kill the aircraft. So here's how you identify the two. A fuel fire is blue. So if you see blue flame coming out of the back of the aircraft, that's a fuel fire. If you don't see the blue and it's just like orange puffs like it was on the Ju-88, that is an engine fire. And what an engine fire usually does is it pretty much instantly kills the engine, because it's pretty much impossible to put out unless you throttle to zero and cut the engine immediately and go into a dive. Which obviously the Ju-88 didn't do, and he really couldn't have done. He would have died either way. So engine fires... There's no blue, it's just the orange or white puffs coming out of the back of the aircraft. And then fuel fires are blue. Now, for me, and this is kind of why I felt it was a little bit of a kill steal, was I saw how badly battered his wing was, and I saw that he was still on fire. But the reason why I shot, is because the fact that it was an engine fire. If that flame had been blue, I would have just let it burn and just let the kill be awarded to the I-16. That actually would have been the I-16's second kill of that match. Since he killed the G50, he would have gotten 2 kills out of that match, but unfortunately for him, yeah. Like I said, the reason why I fired was because it was an engine fire. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have shot. I would have just said, okay, he's gone, I'll let him go. So yeah, I feel really bad about that, and I actually messaged him after that match, and he said it was fine. So yeah, it was for him, but not really so much for me. But anyway, I can't do anything about it now. So there you go, 6 kills and 1 assist in the MiG-3 15, and well, if you'll notice, in this match, I was pretty much flying pretty close to 300 miles an hour when I wasn't climbing. Not only that, but did you see the amount of speed I was able to put up in the dive and still be able to pull out with not really all that many problems. This is why I prefer the MiG over the 110, and even in arcade. The 110 doesn't have the elevator authority, it doesn't have the climb rate, it doesn't have the speed, it doesn't have the energy retention, and in my opinion it doesn't even have the armament. Because here's the thing about this aircraft, the MiG-3, and especially the 315BK. The MiG-315, even though it only has 3 machine guns, those machine guns are very reliable. They have a very good amount of ammunition. The ammunition itself is very reliable. And because of the way that the guns are mounted on the nose, it makes it very easy to hit with these machine guns. Not only that, but when they hit, they do a lot of damage. And another thing that I really like about it is that these machine guns, almost every single round that I fired this match was an armor-piercing incendiary bullet. I would say about 75% of the shots that I fired in this match were armor-piercing incendiaries. Armor-piercing incendiary rounds. Pretty much all of the rounds in any of the Russian machine gun belts are going to be, at least not the default belts, I'm talking about like air targets, ground targets, universal, stealth, is mostly going to be armor-piercing incendiaries with a sprinkling of just adjusted incendiary bullets. And that's really why I believe they don't have the straight-up punch that cannon do, obviously. But the MiG, it doesn't need to have cannon. Because the thing about the MiG is that its machine guns basically act like cannon, in the respect that if these machine guns hit fuel, it's pretty much always going to be a fire, the very first hit. If it hits fuel, first, second, or even the third hit, if you're really unlucky, there's going to be blue flame coming out of the back of the aircraft. So that's why I like the MiG. Not only that, but also it's smaller. As you can see, this thing is a lot smaller than a Bf-110. And honest to God, this is why I prefer really any single-seat, single-engine fighter over a twin-engined heavy attack aircraft. And this is really the big problem with the whole heavy fighter concept. The idea of the heavy fighter concept was... well, you know what? I'll save that. In fact, I will make a whole nother video on the heavy fighter concept. Just me basically sitting in the hangar, or maybe like in a custom battle, and talk about the heavy fighter concept. So anyway, there's the MiG-3, as well as why I prefer it over, even though, honest to God, the MiG-3 really is not the best aircraft that you can fly. In Russian low tiers, there certainly are other aircraft, but, I mean, in the hands of a good pilot, you can definitely make it work. So anyway, there you go, MiG-315, and why I prefer it over the Bf-110. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time.